It's almost Friday. Not really, but that song makes me feel like it. Well, it could be a new low when it comes to some of the things we hear out of Hollywood. Actor and environmental justice warrior, should I put that in quotes because they all fly, Mark Ruffalo says the war in Ukraine that has resulted in the thousands of deaths and unspeakable war crimes we see daily has actually been a gift for President Biden's clean energy efforts. Here it is.
This is a moment for President Biden to take this, our momentum, people's fear, their disgust with the war, their disgust with energy prices, and use that to solidify a message to the American people that now is the time to transition. This is where the jobs are. This is where national security is, and we are going to keep pushing him to do it. And this is a gift from the president as we see it, and we see him accepting it in such terms.
See, I have no doubt why people hate Hollywood. That's it, right there. Just do your job. Just play your role.
Yeah.
Whatever it is.
War is not something to be used. War is not something that is a gift. This is something you learn when you are 5 or maybe 10. And like, it is elementary. But how disgusting that the climate agenda means so much to this man that he's delusional to the point of, you know, not having the empathy to talk about some of the images we've covered on this air. Do you remember, Harris and Emily? I know we were on air together when that pregnant woman was bombed in that maternity hospital, and you pointed out just the blanket that was over her. It was so sad to watch. Unfortunately, she didn't make it, and neither did her child. Those are the images of war, and that is what we must bring to light as to what is happening in Ukraine. It is certainly not a gift.
So, Mark Ruffalo, if we see him on a plane, if we see him in a car, I mean, I sound like a Dr. Seuss. If he's eating eggs in the morning and it's green and it's... But I mean, if this guy is a participant of Hollywood, he's a user of energy.
Sure.
He's not bowing down to the principles of the AOC Green New Deal.
None of them are. But, you know, what Mark Ruffalo said actually isn't that uncommon. Think back to the beginning of the coronavirus, and the head of the World Economic Forum said, this is a great opportunity for us to increase our drive for green energy. The Canadian Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, said the same. American politicians, Democrats, all said the same thing. They said it about the coronavirus. They say it about war. You know, because the thing is, everything they present is always a good opportunity for the thing they happened to already be believing in. It doesn't matter what comes along. You can have a pandemic, you can have a war.
But they're hypocrites about it.
Of course they are.
I don't even believe that they believe. I believe they believe, but we can see by their actions that they don't.
Well, of course. I mean, I was like Leonardo DiCaprio forever being caught, you know, private jetting to places to tell us not to use our cars, you know. This is a perennial thing in Hollywood. My point is, there's a certain type of political activists, including actors, who just think everything in the world that happens that is bad can be used to further their pre-existing agenda. You know, whether it's anti-shale, whatever it is.
So does bad acting count? I mean, what agenda does that further? Shannon?
Listen, I gotta say, when I heard about this, the first thing I thought about was John Kerry, who's now the climate envoy, at the beginning of this. Do you remember in February, where he said, first of all, we should be worried because war has terrible emissions and bombs and all of those things have an impact on the environment. So he was seeing it from a very negative standpoint. And remember, he said, I hope that this whole thing doesn't get Putin off track of being with us on climate change. Remember? So if that is your focus while people are being tortured, raped, killed, children, women, all of it, I think you might need to take a minute to at least think about how it sounds coming out of your mouth.
Yeah, read the room. Get out of here, Mark Ruffalo. The largest food desert in the entire country is right outside his gated house.
He doesn't see.
To your point, he is private security. These guys call themselves activists, but they're just performance artists because they're behind their Zoom. They're talking to their millions of followers who really didn't care what they had to say. It was more about the fashion or the glam, the achievement of this sort of golden dust about them. I don't want to be lectured by Mark Ruffalo. I don't even want to see him in movies anymore. He went on to talk about dark money too in that interview, but remember, dark money to the tune of $1 billion benefited Democrats in 2020. The New York Times ran a headline that said, just in January of this year, that said, you know, Democrats decry dark money, but that's what helped defeat Trump. So going back to this, this guy just said what true slimy politicians do, which is never let a good tragedy go to waste. But the fact that he's saying it straight-faced with his elitist, condescending, absolutely bloated, wealthy environment and expecting average Americans to get on board, it's just disgusting.
When you say read the room, when is the room going to change? I mean, look at what we've seen from Hollywood. The hypocrisy, the violence, all of it.
It's changing already. Look at Netflix. Look at the fall in viewers and subscribers to Netflix. Look at Disney and the share price fall. Look at the fact that among the 10 pictures at the Oscars this year nominated for Best Picture, not one was among the 10 top box office films in America last year. They're giving each other awards for films we, the American public, do not watch. So it's already happening.
Wow. Look at you, just preaching. Right? All right, coming up, the debate over who can say what when it comes to telling someone's story. Political correctness says not everyone can weigh in. What the panel thinks next.